What's up, dispatchers? The British are coming. Before we dive into this video too far, I want to know, what is the most likely SHTF scenario or situation for you? Today, I'm going to be concentrating on a likely scenario that could potentially happen to me and Jason Salyer. But in order for us to make future videos for y'all, we would kind of like to know, hey, where do you spend the majority of your time and what is the environment? What could be the potential scenario or situation in your life, so that we can plan out some videos for the future. Oh, this guy is serious, man. Okay, I will respect your territory. I will go find somewhere else. Now, Jason's not gonna be with us today. He had something he had to take care of. Don't worry, it's not an emergency. He's totally fine. But hey, life gets in the way sometimes, and that's no excuse for us to not go ahead and to train. A highly likely scenario for me and Jason is being in the Cohutta Wilderness and filming. Now, there's 100,000 acres here, and potentially I could be at one end and he could be at the other. So today what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be scouting out potential locations so that if something did happen, we would have a spot to go meet at. And that's what we're trying to communicate to you, is you need to be preparing for whatever scenario could happen to you. We're both content creators, we film on the same days, we often film in the exact same area, and so it would just be smart for us to meet up somewhere if something did go down. If you've been keeping up with the series, then you know what's in my EDC or my foundation kit. And you also know what's inside of my backpack. Now, there's only one change to my kit. Normally I carry a Clock 29 in my sidecar holster. Today I'm wearing a Safariland and I have a Clock 20 and I'm wearing Underwood. The people that know will answer those questions that you have in the comment section. I don't recognize this world anymore that we live in, and we can't talk about that kind of stuff. Sorry. That's all we have. Now, I haven't eaten in about 15 hours, and I'm planning on being out here about a day and a half. So whatever we eat is what I have in my pack. And so now that you know what we're kind of doing, what's the first thing you do in an emergency? No. First, you have to mitigate any potential life threats. After you've done that, it's time to stop, think, observe, and plan. Now, most people hear that, but they don't understand why that's important. Number one, when you are super stressed out, you have a lot of adrenaline flowing through you. Your cortisol levels are through the roof. It's really important to get a handle on that. The only way that you're gonna do that is by slowing down. And this is really important because the decisions you make at the onset of an emergency greatly affect the outcome. Now, before we take a decisive course of action, we need to think about, okay, what are the potential hazards of what we're about to do? While you're thinking about that, a good idea is to go ahead and take everything that you have and go ahead and lay it out and figure out exactly what you have. And it is possible that you'll be with other people and you'll be amazed at what other people carry. You'll know exactly what they have, and it could actually potentially be very useful for the group. Now, while you're doing that, that gives your mind a little bit of time to actually calm down and you can actually think about things. Now, in my particular situation right now, I'm in the Cohutta. There's 100,000 acres here, and anybody who's been in the Cohutta will tell you it is just full of mountains, ups and downs, and it is really harsh territory. So one of our greatest dangers out here is mechanical injury. That is something that we really have to look out for. The next thing that we're really gonna have to look out for is dehydration, because right now it's the middle of summer and it is hot. It is supposed to be 99 degrees today. I don't even know what the heat index is. And so to make sure that we stay ahead of the curve, we need to make sure not only that we stay hydrated, but we need to make sure that we are using electrolytes with that as well. What I do is I stack 2 different packs of electrolytes together so that I have close to 2,000 milligrams of sodium and just a little bit over that in potassium. Now, sodium is potassium sparing. That means that your body is going to utilize all of the sodium first before it starts attacking the potassium. Now, if y'all are interested in some bug out hacks where you can retain literally 95% of your energy over, let's say, 5 days without actually eating, let me know in the comment section and I'll make that video happen. God! Just because I know that this is gonna come up in the comment section, someone's gonna say, hey buddy, out of the 4,000 to 5,000 bears that are in your state, you're with 3,000 to 4,000 of them. It's time to spit some truth about bears. Number one, 96% of the time, nothing is gonna happen, period. They typically don't wanna have anything to do with you whatsoever. 3% of the time, okay, yeah, maybe the bear, he fronts on you. If that situation ever happens to you, stand your ground, wave your arms, make yourself big, but don't do the whole, hey buddy, what's going on? If a bear is fronting on you, get serious. Now, 1% of the time, something might actually happen. Over my lifetime, I've been charged by animals 5 times. I was prepared then, and I'm prepared now. Now, things that we will have to look out for, you know, copperheads, timber rattlers, you know, cane brakes, the bees, the wasps, the hornets, they're everywhere. So we definitely need to look out for them. Like I said, there's 100,000 acres out here and we have absolutely no way of communicating with the world. If Jason and I were out here, we would literally have to communicate with ham radios. But right now there's no one out here, so I have no comms. What I did do before I left was I told my family, hey, this is the area that I'm gonna be in. Here's the route that I'm gonna take. And if something were to happen because I don't come home on a certain day at a certain time, send the cavalry. Now, in the last video, I talked about having lanyards attached to the things that are most important to you. If it's actually attached to you, the likelihood of you losing it goes way down. Now, another good idea is always to have a map of the area that you're in. You'll notice that the Cohutta Wilderness here is outlined in red. Now, this is a site map that I got down at the weigh-in station, but you should also have a topo map of the area that you're in. And the first thing you want to do is you want to orient the map to make sure that you're actually reading it correctly. You can look at the terrain features on it and know exactly where we're at. What I'm doing is I'm trying to find the largest object that I can find out in the distance, and instead of using my compass to navigate that whole entire way by looking at it like this, which is called dead reckoning. Now I can take my compass, I can put it away, and I can actually focus on the object that I shot with my compass, and that way I'm keeping my compass safe and I know for sure that I am in line with my azimuth. Another advantage to shooting your azimuth and putting away your compass is now that we have something that we can go walk to, we can also pay attention to what's in our environment, and that is always critical. Now would be a good time for us to discuss why I took the heading that I took. Sometimes the fastest way to get somewhere is not necessarily in a straight line. In this case, Iron Mountain is right in front of me, and believe me, it is so steep. I've done it before and it just sucks. So what I've done is I found an old logging road that was on the map, and here it is. And I knew that there was also a creek, which unfortunately has run dry, which means we're gonna have to backtrack a little bit and get some water, because we definitely cannot start going up this mountain without water. This is actually a really good lesson for y'all because of possum mentality. We're constantly talking about that. In this case, water is gonna be really important to us. And I saw some earlier and I should have grabbed it then. I was just eager to get going. So y'all learn from our mistakes, right? We only had to backtrack like 300 yards, so that's not real bad. So there's the watering hole. That's where we're gonna get our water from. And I think we're gonna go right over here because this is the deepest spot that I can see. All right, so we're down by the water and y'all wanna talk about gear. So I'm putting down my P&W Bushcraft ground cloth just so I have something to kneel on, and I've got my water kit. First I have a Grail, and nesting inside of my stainless steel canteen cup that I've got there, I've got a filter. It's a pre-filter for the Grail. If you spend as much time as I do out in the backcountry, you need a pre-filter so that you don't clog up the Grail. This one is made by Jason over at Campcraft. It's a great piece of kit. I'd recommend it to anybody. But to make sure that the pre-filter works well, what you do is first you have to saturate it in the water, just like this, right here. Get it nice and wet and saturated. Then what you can do is you can take this, you can put it into the water, fill it up, and you'll notice it's already pre-filtering the water for us. Now you can take that stream and you can put it straight into the Grail. Let me show you how that works. So now all I'm doing is allowing the water to go into the Grail cup itself, and there's a little line on it right there, and that's what we're gonna fill it up to. Now you'll notice there's a lanyard that I've got here. You could actually tie this off to a tree if you wanted to, and then you could hang it and you could allow the cup to collect the water. Now that we are to the line, now you'll notice on top of the Grail, there's an arrow on top of the cap, and there's an orange dot and a green dot. What you want to do is you want to take that arrow and turn it to the green dot, just like that. And that gives you a little ventilation while you go to purify your water, just like this. And just in a matter of about 10 seconds, you'll have clean, fresh drinking water. Now that's worth every penny. All right, now the next thing that I'm gonna do is, it's really hot today. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and take off my shirt here. I'm gonna take my shemagh and I'm gonna go ahead and wet it down real quick. And now that it's saturated, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fold it in half, just like this, and I'm gonna roll it up. And I'm gonna put it around my neck. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a square knot. Right over left, left over right. And what that's gonna do is the water is gonna collect inside of this knot. And while we're walking, we'll have these nice, fresh towelettes that we can wipe our face with to help keep us cool. Now I'm just gonna take this and I'm gonna put it on the outside of my pack and just buckle it in. Just like that, and now we're ready to go. All right, we made it back to the vlogging road, and I mean, what's left of it anyway. As you can see, nobody's really been down this for a while, which is good for us. One thing that I can really appreciate about this place is just how peaceful and quiet it is. Everything is just so still. And we kind of lucked out. There's like a very slight breeze right now. And I cannot believe the cover that we have in here from the sun. It is amazing. I am just so grateful, even with these spider webs. Okay, we've been a couple miles up this road now, and look what I just stumbled upon. Just littered all over the place. That's a good sign for us. If you know what that is, post it in the comments. Right there. Possum mentality, free food. I think I'm gonna grab some of these right up in here. Yep. It's really important just to watch your step, just to make sure you don't roll an ankle on one of these stones, but this whole entire place is littered with them. They're everywhere. All right, we've been climbing for a while now. I think it's time to sit down and take a break. And this area right here, just look at these trees. There's like a domino effect. I don't know if you can really tell from the camera, but it just keeps on going all the way across the ridge. And those are some big old trees that went down. I presume a storm system came through here and just knocked them down. Looking forward to this. Whew. A little water. Oh yeah. Sometimes you just can't go through. There's just nowhere for us to pass through here. So I'm thinking that we're gonna have to go high. Let's see if we can get up right here. Watch our footing here. See if I can do this without falling. There we go. A lot of trees that have fallen through here. All right, we made it to the top. Finally, I'm telling you what, the Cajada, it ain't no joke. But that's gonna make our journey way easier from here on out. I'd rather just go ahead and get the hard part over with. Sure, it was long and it took us a while to get here, but in the end, it's gonna be so worth it so we don't have to go straight up that cliff face. That's something you gotta watch out for when you're in uncharted territory, so to speak. Our widowmakers. Constantly be checking for it. Okay, I gotta tell y'all something right quick. I literally thought, not that I was lost, but that maybe I had gone over too far, because what I was looking for was this trail right here. And I almost didn't see it from way over there. And I just took a chance that it would be over here, because by walking on this trail right here, That's gonna make the traverse across this huge mountain range that much easier. That's what I'm talking about. Now we can make some tracks. Now here's the kind of thing you don't see every day in nature. Look how cool that is. Man, I love seeing stuff like that while I'm out here. I don't know, it's like God's extravagance. I just love seeing stuff like that. So cool. Now, I was really hoping that I could just find a spot where I could give y'all some perspective, because the highest peak is right over there. But if you look down at all of this, this is what we saved ourselves from going through. I mean, you want to talk about a nightmare going through all of that. Even though we had to climb for a rather long time, I would rather do that all day long than have to go through all of this. Just look at that. And it's straight down. I don't know if you can get any perspective from the video, but oh my God, that is steep. That is hill country right there, and it is just nasty. I'll tell you what, this is God's country up here. Before I even get some water, it's time for some gummy bears. It's important to, you know, give yourself a break every now and then. Catch your breath for a second. Think about what you're doing. Golly, I hate yellow jackets. You can't let me enjoy my gummy bears, can you? Little bastards. Yeah, it's good to just kick back and think about, you know, the mission and what you're doing every so often. I've been going for quite a while now, and I haven't seen anybody. I haven't heard anything. It is like so peaceful and so still out here. There hasn't been anybody out here in a while. This would make a great place for me to egress to Jason. Now it's tempting to want to drink a ton of water, but you can't do that. You just gotta, you know, take in a little bit, let your body absorb it and everything. Plus, we don't want to go through all of our supplies, because we still have, you know, a little bit of time on this trail before we're gonna get to any water, because we're just up really high right now and there's no water sources. So I definitely don't want to run completely out. So I'm rationing right now. We've been blessed with good weather too, that I am very, very grateful for. But I'll be honest with you, when it rains, that actually helps cool you off a good bit. I actually enjoy it when it rains. I'm wearing clothes that dry pretty fast. And right now, especially, you know, in August in Georgia, it's just wicked nasty hot out here. Look at the back of my pack right now. It's just soaked all the way through. And like that, back on the trail. Back on the trail. You know, sometimes nature just throws good stuff at you. If we wanted to start a fire right now, which I definitely don't, just look at all of this right here. I mean, that's like a godsend. Doesn't get any better than that, because right across from it, look at this. Injuries in the tree where we could get some pine resin. That's just the way it works, right? When you don't need it, it's everywhere. Okay, we're now starting to lose elevation pretty quick. And God, this trail is nasty. Walking on this is like, requires serious attention. Nobody's like walking on this. This ain't no fun to hike. But that is good, because that means that we're getting to the other side of this, and that is where we wanted to be. Oh, bear tracks. Okay. Right there. Bear tracks. That's cool. What I am hoping is that, because we're losing light fast, we're going to have to get to a spot where we can start discussing our shelter options. And I need to get some water. Yes. Okay, yeah, it's actually flowing too. So that's good news for us. So we're losing daylight, so I'm gonna go ahead and get the water really fast. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drink one as fast as I can. And then I'm gonna grab a second one to take with us, and we're gonna put some electrolytes in that batch. But for now, I gotta work fast because I just don't have time. We are literally about to lose our filming light, so I've gotta do this now. Let's talk about shelter. Let's talk about my scenario where I'm at right now. Number one, there is absolutely no sign of rain whatsoever. It is still really warm. It's gotta be in the 80s right now, I can tell. And it is extremely humid. Now in our pack from the last video, you saw that I have my poncho and I also have my Snug Pack jungle bag as well. Now the truth is, I don't really need all that. One of me and Jason's favorite things to do is to literally find a tree like this one and just lean up against it. Let me show you what I'm talking about. You can see this little area right here. My back will fit perfectly into that, and I'm actually elevated. I don't know if you can see that, but it's actually an elevated position right here where I'd be sitting, and I can literally nestle up in there. Thing is, we could build a plow point, right? We could do a lean-to, for example, but the truth is, the name of the game in survival is conserving energy. And one thing for certain, we are not in a position where we need to hide. There's nobody out here. And if something were to come up to us, I would want to see it coming. I wouldn't want to have to get out of a bag or, you know, get out of a small, tiny space. I want to take action immediately if something like that were to happen. So tonight, I think I have literally found the spot where I'm going to stay. Try it out real fast and we'll see how it rests. I can tell already. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is perfect. My field of view is probably 25 to 30 yards out. There's a lot of dry leaves right here. I can definitely hear if something's coming for sure. What I'm gonna do tonight is I'm going to eat the cashews that are in the pack. I'm gonna have one pack of cashews. I'm also gonna eat one Cliff Bar, and that last container full of water that I got in the Grail, I'm gonna add and stack some electrolytes in there. So I'm gonna be putting LNMT and snake juice into that bottle, and I'm gonna drink it. And then I'm gonna backtrack, I don't know, about 400 yards or so in the morning, and I'm gonna go get another thing of water, probably, you know, down it, and then I'm gonna add more electrolytes to the second one before we take off again tomorrow. I reckon I have about 30 minutes. That's about all the time that I got left, so I'll see y'all in the morning. So it's like 5:30 in the morning, and I got this fancy light so that I could film whatever animal action happened last night. But the only action that I actually got was a whippoorwill that I thought about eating, and a raccoon definitely shat in my mouth. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to find a sweet gum tree. We'll have to get up here soon. So there's my bed last night, and I'm telling you, it was like perfect, but I just want you to see how big this tree is. Well, it's 6 o'clock, and I put this shirt on last night. I had to pee at 2:30, thinking I would wake up being chilled, but God, it is so hot. Stupid hot, doing this in August in the Cohutta. Golly, I should be hibernating right now. This morning, we definitely deserve some coffee. Let's get some sticks. Then I'm gonna grab some fire plugs out of my belt, and I'm gonna rough it up a little bit. We're just gonna light it off, throw it in there. Now we'll add some of our sticks. Get our water. And our stainless steel cups. Now that our fire's going, we can add that on top. Keep adding sticks. Oh, she's cooking now. I can already hear it boiling. Talk about a fire, look at that. That's awesome. Now we can add our coffee. Now we can take it off the flame. That was literally like 5 sticks and it's still going. And there's our coffee. Take this. It's empty. Set it back down. And we're just gonna sit here and enjoy our coffee, and in literally seconds we'll be able to pick that up. Boiled water or coffee in under 5 minutes, can't beat that. Right beside us there's some bear claw marks in the tree. Check that out. And after 2 sips of coffee, this thing is cool to the touch, and we can put it back in its sack. Just like that. It's too bad Jason couldn't be here this morning to enjoy this. It's a great morning. Now we can put our kit back together. Go ahead and stick that back in our pack. One thing I love about this P&W Bushcraft ground cloth is you can just use it on the floor to like organize your stuff. Just an awesome piece of kit. Also love how on my Terra Humara pack from Hill People that I can just strap stuff on the outside like that. It's perfect. And now that the birds are singing, it's time for us to get out of here. We've still got a little bit further to go. One thing that's good about this morning is it's not as humid as it was last night. Last night it was absolutely horrible. So that's something to be grateful for. Okay, now we're at a point where I'm gonna have to shoot another azimuth because we're gonna have to go cross country a little bit to get to the spot where I think Jason and I should meet up at. All right, so we gotta go about 320 degrees. So let's go ahead and get to it. By the way, if you're allergic to Virginia creeper or to poison ivy, don't go to the Cahutta. Oh, look what we found. Look, yes, turkey feather. That's a good one too. But look how much poison ivy there is. It's everywhere. Everywhere. You know, I've said this 100 times in videos before. If you're going through really nasty terrain, then find animal trails because they'll help you get through it. And here's a perfect example. Here's a deer trail right here, and it's making my walk so much easier. Oh, what do we have here? Oh wow, look at these trees, how they're marked with all this mud. This is huge. Look at this. Looks like an old watering hole. Oh, yeah, we got bear marks, bear tracks right there. Looks like he's laying here to stay cool, but oh wow. Let's see what other evidence we can find. More marks on the trees. They're everywhere, in fact. He has rubbed all over this place. An old tree that he clawed up pretty good. And as you can see, I mean, that's pretty high, actually. Based on the print that I saw, I wear a size 14, and his print is a little bit wider than mine. You know, we're probably looking at a 6-foot bear here. It's really important, too, to canvas up in the trees in an area like this. If you know that there's a bear in the area, you got to have 360-degree awareness for sure. There's the track, and there's my foot. And like I said, I wear a size 14, so you know that's a pretty big bear. And that track right there is very fresh. All kinds of trees that he has clawed up, but I can't find a fresh rub tree right here. I mean, I know this area right here has been used a lot just based on the age of the sign. Man, this would be an awesome place to hunt. And I know how to get here. Golly, getting it out though. Oh man, that would suck. But if you want to catch the big ones, you got to go places people aren't willing to go, and this is definitely one of those spots for sure. Heavily trafficked area right here for bear, big time. You can see on this tree right here where this part right here has dried, but this part over here is still wet. And right here in the pine straw, you can see where his paw was, which was right here, and he pushed down on it, and you can see where it's piled up right here, and that's where he pushed to rub up against this tree right here. Now, I don't know if y'all can see this or not, but this right here, all the way around here, is a bed, and I'm gonna go ahead and get in it just to try to show you how big it is. You can see where all the pine straw is matted down. Its head was over here and its feet were here. It's all matted down right here, and the rest of this is all kicked up like normal. But I'm gonna go ahead and try to, oh my God, I can smell it. So he's laying like this in this bed, and God, I can smell him. Wow, yeah, that's a big old bear right here. Wow. Well, we got to get out of here. What a spot, though. Did I mention it was hot? Another day. It's not bear hunting season anyway. Okay, all right. Let's go. Come on. Ugh. Great. What a bummer. Thankfully, I have found another animal path, which is going to help me get through this. And it looks like it's headed in the right direction we need to go, and we're actually headed downhill. So that's good. Means we're getting closer. Now that the sun is out, I can actually see some of these spider webs that I keep walking into. Now, something that I am really good at is finding things in the woods that aren't supposed to be there. Let me show you something real quick. Look at this. Now, that just goes to show you, number one, we're getting closer to where people are. Even when you're deep in the woods, you've still got to be careful that you don't get caught. 360-degree awareness, keep your head on a swivel. Okay, and just over there, you can see is a draw that I was looking for. And right over here, you'll notice there's ground cedar that's everywhere. And this stuff is great for making bedding. I know the herbalists use it for medicine. And you can walk through this stuff really quietly, which is really nice because we're getting really close to the spot that I want to go. We're just going to go hit this draw, and we're going to go down, and we should be at the spot that we had planned out. There's some rattlesnake plantain, and there is some striped wintergreen, and right next to it there is a bunch of sassafras saplings. We could dig some of those up and get the roots and make a tea out of it. It's what they used to make root beer out of. Okay, get away from me, bee. And there's also white pine everywhere. And the way to recognize white pine, needles have 5 needles per bundle. WHITE, white pine, 5 needles per bundle. If we didn't have the electrolytes that we had, we could make a tea out of it, and we would get a ton of vitamin C from that. So that would be a good source. Okay, we've been walking for about 3 hours, and we're finally to the spot that I was thinking about. You can see here, I've been here before, obviously. Here's a lean-to shelter that also has a bough bed. There was a classic A-frame, and there's a raised bed that we made, and wow, it actually looks like it's in decent shape as well. We could actually use it. And right over there is where we were processing firewood. Well, I had this leaned up, oh, there we go. Yeah, so there's where a bear actually pulled it down. I wonder if he actually slept in my bed. No, he didn't. Okay, he just didn't like stuff leaning up against the trees, I guess. Think this was a bad spot for a fire pit? That could have been bad. Just due east of this location is my buddy's house. And the thing that's great about this location is it's on private property and it's gated. Like, we would be locked in here and we wouldn't be able to get into the house. There's bars on the windows and on the door, etc. It's bear proofed. but this would be a good camp for us where we could rest, try to, you know, formulate a plan for whatever might potentially happen. So I'm gonna have to show this to Jason and see what he says, but I think this would be a great spot for us to come to. And I wish he was here to see it, but he'll just have to see it in the video, and then I guess I'll just have to bring him back. All right, that's mission accomplished right there. I feel pretty good about that trek. Hey, if y'all are Honey Smack digging the content, then do us a favor, get in the comment section and let us know so you can see more content like this. Like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And until the next one, fuel the fires.